Gargoyles is a terrific mid-90s platforming game, but it's also terrifically hard. It's not like your typical platformer that you would see in the mid-90s or early 90s. You look at it and it's a 2D platformer, so you think running to the right, jumping, once in a while maybe hitting. It's those three things, but there's also throws. There's also climbing on walls. There's also swinging from obstacles, jumping from wall to wall. There's breaking through weak walls, through weak floors. You need to do all these things to progress. If you don't utilize all of the game's controls, you're either gonna die really quick or you're just gonna get stuck in the game. A lot of the times there's just nowhere to go, and you have to figure out where to go by just running into walls and breaking them or trying to break through the floor. This isn't that hard in the earlier levels when you're climbing on castles and you can kind of see which of the walls can be broken. But the later levels take place in modern times. Well, now it's the past. They take place in the mid 90s. But still, you're climbing on like skyscrapers, modern buildings, and it's not always as easy to see which wall can be broken. Like, the bosses are tough in the game, but some regular enemies can be tough as well. Not every enemy can just kill with a few hits or like a throw. Some enemies are impossible to pick up, so you have to meticulously slice at them over and over. It's like a mini boss fight. The difficulty can be mastered though, that's why the game is good. And also these different moves and things you do in the game make the game very rich. It's a lot richer than your typical 90s platformer. Aside from being rich in terms of gameplay, the game has awesome graphics, awesome sound effects, and a great soundtrack. And also the graphics have a fantastic feel. It's like dark and gothic. It's a pretty scary game. I mean, I'm not scared. I'm an adult. I don't get shut up. Gargoyles, the television series, ran for a couple of seasons. It wasn't as popular as some of its counterparts who came out around the same time, but it was a very great television show. It was, from what I remember though, very dark as well. It's like almost wasn't for children. And I'm not just talking about the story, which had dark elements, just like the feel of the game, very gothic, bleak. It took place at night because the gargoyles were frozen during the day. They were like stone during the day. It was a lot darker than like Superman the animated series. It was even darker than Batman the animated series. Even though all three of the shows had very similar art styles, this was definitely the darkest out of the three. In terms of a game that's based on a TV show, this is one of the few that's actually good, not just because it's good on its own. Like, if it wasn't based on a TV show, if this was just a one-off game just made about random gargoyles that had nothing to do with the TV show, it'd still be good. But it's also good because it just emulates the feel of the actual show really well. The character looks like the character from the show. It has a very similar art style, very similar settings. Even the music is similar, even though the Sega Genesis couldn't really handle really orchestral music, because it always had that robotic 16-bit sound. I think Gargoyles for the Sega Genesis is especially good because it's a TV show based game that's actually good. Like, it's so rare for a TV show based game to be kinda good. For it to be like a really good game, it's almost unheard of. I can name about 1,000,000 television and movie based games that are absolute garbage, a lot of which that I already reviewed. But to name like a television or movie based game that's decent, I'm having a hard time. I'm actually drawing a blank right now. I'm thinking, like, nothing's coming to mind, really. This is definitely a fun game, and if you like platformers with a challenge, it's right up your alley. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more classic game reviews. Goodbye, my friends.